Hi, and welcome to the weekend. I'm your host, Reverend Dave, and this week on Reverend Review, we have a government model Mark IV Series 70 Model O, manufactured by Colt in the United States. This firearm is categorized as a semi-automatic pistol and shoots a 45 ACP. And like I said, this is a government model Mark IV Series 70 Model O. However, it's not in that configuration that it was purchased in. I've done some upgrades and stuff to this firearm. In fact, I've made it to look like a M1911A1. So let me show you what we got going on here. So here we go. Move the box. As you see here, it's not how it came in the box originally. Yes, it's a government model, and it is not a 1911A1. However, I've always wanted a 1911 A1, from World War II. But those pistols are pretty expensive, and I didn't have that kind of money. As well, some of the reproductions that I've seen, when they repros or whatever they call it, man, did I want one of those. But again, they made a limited number, and they did not last. They're purchased pretty quick, and you can find them, but they're going to cost a good amount of money. And then there's other companies like TSUS and some other companies that are making vintage looking 1911s from World War II. However, they're not Series 70. They're a Series 80 model. And what that means is they got a firing spring safety inside. So what I had to do is I had to do this myself, and some of you might know already what I've done. So the Series 70, the Mark IV Series 70, comes already with a short trigger. Doesn't have that long trigger, and it has an arched mainspring housing. As you see, though, I have a arched mainspring housing that has a lanyard loop. This is original to the Mark 70. Mark IV Series 70. However, you see the safety here, the thumb safety. It's just a little I don't know what they call it, but that's what they were using back then. And then, of course, the hammer. I have here a wide spur hammer. Not original with the gun. So originally, when I purchased this firearm, it came with this blued arch mainspring housing. However, it didn't have a lanyard loop. It came with this teardrop looking thumb safety here. And the hammer, because it's a Series 70, it's Mark IV, it's been polished on the side. But the hammer is narrow here and wide here, even though I think it was 1944, so when the U.S. military were moving away from the wide spur hammer to these narrow hammers. So apart from that, they came with wooden grips like this. They're fairly nice. However, I did get some surplus nylon grips from the U.S. military. They were selling on a surplus site these grips. And then what I did after that was I wanted to get it Parkerized, just like the 1911s that were from World War II. However, I do live in a salty sea environment, and rust would be a factor. So I just had it Cerakoted. It's like a dark sniper gray, which has the look of a parkerization. So, you know, the barrel I didn't touch, it's still blued, and as you see under there, there's no, if it'll focus, no firing pin safety. So later I'll do a video on a stripping and or disassembly and reassembly and such. But yeah, what I like about this, you know, if I did have a World War II one, I probably wouldn't want to shoot it as much. This being a, you know, a reproduction that I made or, you know, modified, you know, it has that, you know, it has a place in my collection. You know, I also went ahead and bought some other surplus magazines from the military. These are surplus mags. They work fine. And then, even though they were used in World War I, not World War II, I got one magazine that had a lanyard loop on it. Other than that, I'm very pleased with this firearm. It shoots exceptionally well. It fits. Now you notice the sights, I didn't modify the sights. Even though the front one's fixed, I could have had it dremeled down and smaller, and I could have done the same with these the rear sight. However, I wanted to keep that functionality of it, you know, original to the Model 4 Series 70. But yeah, I'll do a part 2 on this gun later. If you're looking to get a 1911 from World War II, you don't want to spend the money, but you want an actual Colt and not a Thesis or some other $300 cheap 1911. Looking to getting a Mark 4 Series 70 and doing some modifications to it. There you go. It's my review of the Colt government model Mark 4 Series 70 Model O in the 1911 A1 configuration.